Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into Education. This is a platform wherein I bring designers from different aspects and talk about design education and how design education had shaped them into better designers. On this episode, we have a very special friend here. Hi Shreya, welcome to Education.
Hi Tejj, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, how's your day going? And if you could give a brief about yourself to our audience out there.
Yes, so hi everyone. My name is Shreya Venugopal. I am a lead experience designer at Infosys. I've been working there for almost 2 years now, and I'm currently in Bangalore. And I did my bachelor's in design from MIT Institute of Design, Pune, and I specialized in user experience design.
So, Shreya, what was your journey into design and how did you choose bachelor's in user experience design? What made you choose that?
It's a little funny story actually. I wanted to be a fashion designer for like from really like I think from sixth standard I wanted to be a fashion designer, and I actually prepared for fashion designing because I thought that would be something that I would enjoy. And I started preparing for NID, NIFT, and all the colleges. I knew for a fact that I wouldn't. I am scared of exams. I have exam anxiety, so I can't do exams. So I knew that the creative side was something that was my calling. I couldn't go for something like engineering or BA, BCom or something like that. It had to be something creative. So I had a few of my school friends who were also looking for designing, and that's how I got to know about NIFT and NID, and that's been helpful. Just to know what all colleges are around you. And then with general research, I fumbled upon the top four colleges that I would apply for, which was NID, NIFT, MIT, and Symbiosis. I applied to all four, hoping that one of them and like would get in. Sadly, I didn't get into NID or NIFT. And so, even for Symbiosis and MIT, I had applied for the fashion program. But the funny part is, while applying for MIT, I accidentally chose the Bachelor's in Foundation Design program. And I did not choose the fashion design program. So I had applied for the wrong thing. But I didn't know that until I reached there for the interview, where the interviewer told me that, and I had a fashion portfolio. And he said, "Your work represents fashion. What are you doing here?" And I was so confused. But he said, like, either interview also help you. Your work is good, and you can sort of work in the industrial design aspect as well. So yeah, I got into MIT, and that's been my decision for UX has been actually since in first year we have a basic foundation program that's I think constant with a lot of design colleges. So it's a batch of 200 people, and you are you're you're welcomed with so many people with different backgrounds, and it's so much fun. The first year, I have to say, it's the best feeling and the best experience. And yeah, so then after that you have to choose a discipline. You have communication design and industrial design. So you have courses like specialization like graphic design, transportation design, interior, retail, all of this, and UX was one of them. And my college was one of the first colleges that was offering undergraduate in UX design. Other colleges in India would give postgraduate or like master's program, but we were the first batch from our college that started. So we were an excited bunch of people who wanted to actually go for UX, and we had communicated with our faculty also. So that's how I ended up in UX and how I ended up choosing the stream.
That sounds like a total accidental design story.
Yeah.
But it's really wonderful to hear that. So, what made you choose UX in the end? Was it because just it was your first college that was offering, or did you had that calling towards UX after your first year's foundational course?
I must say that I had the calling for UX too. So in this 1 year of foundation, you are exposed to all different kinds of design principles, design concept. Like we have these tests, not test assignments basically. So some maybe with material, some maybe with like digital. So I was exposed to both industrial and communication. And my calling was always research based design. Like I like to find out the design process of things. And in a design college, you're always communicating with your mentor during the entire process. And my mentor then had told me, like, UX might be your calling. And I did my own research for UX, and I saw that this is a growing field. And it sort of like clicked me, like, this is something that I could do. So it's sort of like first year actually helped me, that I did not want to do any of the rest, and this is something that I want to do.
That's wonderful. So let's talk about college experience and all, because in our previous videos also audience have asked for people from MIT. There were constant requests. So how was your experience with MIT, and if anything you could bring out that could help the listeners out there?
MIT, living in college it's a very wonderful experience. You are exposed to so many kind of people, so many weird experiences, I must say. We even have this hashtag called hashtag somewhere in Lonely. So our college, it was actually like, I think 10 to 15 kilometers away from the city. So we are located a little, like, we're in a village sort of. It's called Loni Kalbur. So we're away from all the cities. So all the people in the college are your people. Like these are the people that you communicate with. And yeah, so with the hashtag, like you can see the photos also that's been there on Instagram. You can just check out, all the viewers can check it out. But yes, talking about things we did in college, we had lots of clubs and festivals. Festivals, I think there was something that we enjoyed thoroughly. We had from Onam to Lori and Dandiya, and we would go all out no matter what. Even like Onam, everybody used to dress up in like the Kerala attire. We had like dance programs, and Ganesh Chaturthi, we had the whole mandala setup. And Dandiya, 3 nights of Dandiya fun. But this was during my time. Things have changed now. But yeah, and we have all these events like Secret Santa. And the thing that I enjoyed thoroughly was that we are part of those events. Like everything that you see, that even the fest, we had a fest called 1874. Everything is something that we have contributed to. So everything you see around is something that you have been part of, and you feel so good that whatever you are making, there is an impact to it. And yeah, so we have more clubs like photography club, drama club, there's a Sikh club. So you're not bored in MIT, I must say that. And since you are distant from other places, like you're living in most of us we're living in a hostel. So we used to have our own things that we used to do, like before going, we used to have a bye-bye spot where all of us meet at 10 p.m. just to chill around and before going in. And of course, like every hostel story, we have all had our fun in hostel.
That's really wonderful, Shreya. So let's talk about the entrance and what are the things that you did in terms of preparation or coaching, or was it really needed, especially for this UX course? And then we'll talk about the journey of into the college, and we'll discuss different years. So how was your preparation and sort
Okay.
of things like?
Okay, so I think in school, like I mentioned before, I met up with a few students who also wanted to do designing as their. These were my seniors, and so I had a few books which they hand me down. It's Arihan's like Success Master. It's a coaching book sort of, and basically this is for the entrance exams, which is acceptable in most of the colleges like NID, NIFT, IIT, all of this. So that's all that I had. I didn't, so I like fashion designing. I told you I was more into fashion designing. So I was, trying to get my portfolio right. And I did not go for any coaching. I didn't think it was necessary at that time, because in college I met so many people who had come there with coaching. So some people do prefer going to coaching, but I didn't go. But yeah, just that book gave me an idea of what to prepare for the exam. So you just like there are so with MIT we had two sets of exams. One is the written, like you have the aptitude test, and the next is a studio test where they test sort of your drawing skills or how you're able to communicate your solution. And then they have the third round of interview. So these are the three rounds usually, and this is mostly in all the other colleges as well, as far as I know. And after the interview, you quickly know about whether you're in or not. And then, yeah, that's the admission process. And uh, that book is something that helped me. It sort of prepared me for, the entrance exams.
Great. I'll attach the book in the link if someone wants to go and get it.
Yeah.
They are free to. So, how was
They
your
have every year release of the book.
Okay, great. So, how was your journey? Like it was a 4 years course, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you could take us through your 4 years on a very high level, it would be really wonderful.
Okay. First year, like I mentioned before, we have the foundation where it's a bunch of 200 students together. We have all these, we experiment with different materials, with different like digital art forms and everything. We are also taught Photoshop and Illustrator, Adobe softwares. So you are well aware before you step into your specialization. Towards the end of it is where you choose your specialization. And so the second year you're introduced to different concept of like the field that you're in. For me in UX, I was introduced to the design process, different kinds of design process. And my faculty, they were all into research. They were highly into research. So they would always talk about like how important research is. Even if you're not able to sketch, if you have an idea that you're able to explain properly, that's all you need to pass, like sometimes introduced to several UX concepts and all of this. And since our faculty were into research, we were introduced to a lot of research concepts. And ideally, so in third year, you have more of these assignments where you have to make screens and you have to explain, like, we were introduced to Adobe XD at that point. So we were experimenting with different screens, animations, interactions, all that we could do with that software. So any like all the solutions that we thought of, we tried to like explain it through like it was released around that time, so we were really lucky to work around our project with Adobe XD at that time. So in third year, after the end of third year, like in the middle, you have to do a summer internship. I must say this internships are always helpful for you. You learn about the industry so much. And then going back to college after the internship is also a new experience because you're also exposed to so many things around. And so before your so in the fourth year is when things start getting a little serious, where we have to think about your graduation project. Some people call it the thesis, but you have to focus entirely on it. Some have self-sponsored or company-sponsored projects, so you have to focus on that. So basically, you have to do a 4-month internship at a company, and in that time, you have to also do your graduation project. So yeah, and this is like the rough highlight of college of UX actually. And I must say, internships always help. That's one little advice that I have to say. Even in some kind of work, you're always exposed to people, and it's very important to make connections around the world. Even if it's friends, like it's very important to have some sort of communication with the people you meet. I remember I even the entrance exams that we have to go to, you have to go and give it in the college. So I am still in touch with some of those people that I met 5 years ago for the entrance exam. And sometimes they help, when you're stuck, like when you have a design, like somewhere you're stuck in a design problem, and you can just consult anyone, especially with social media. You can just post something and you get so much response from all these people. So it's very important to make the connections as well.
So, this internship, was it being provided with a college or you have to search on your own?
Both, I must say, but some people prefer going through the college. Some, we had Internshala website that helped a lot of us for internships. And another thing is your mentors. a lot of these mentors, they have connection with people from the industry, so they do have this, like, some, even with seniors who have gone to the companies, you can also get in touch with them and ask if there is an opportunity for you to join in. So, there are college provided internships also, but it's always open to, like, you should explore more on, like, from your connections that you do.
That's a really wonderful point you have mentioned, because even after post graduating the college also, if somewhere if you really want to apply through, it's all about your connections, and referrals are way more faster when compared to direct applying or these things.
Exactly.
That's a nice point that you have done that. And I feel like design is all about making these connections and collaborations that will take you to a much higher steps, and also that's a great point, Shreya.
Even from first year, like I said, even from the beginning, if you are in, you don't have to be in constant touch with them, just know that you can reach out to them at any point of time for any kind of design help that you need, even with your career or something. I feel designers are very open to communication and can always help a fellow designer out, because we know how hard it is, because everybody's gone through the same thing every year. Like, even I, right now, I'm in touch with a lot of my juniors in college. They reach out to me, I help them with their graduation project also. Like, it's a cycle. You help, took help from my senior, and now I'm helping the juniors, so it's a great pleasure, of course.
That's wonderful, Shreya. So let's talk about your faculty and the mentors over there. So how was it? Was it like the industrial faculty were coming in between, like on and off? Were there in-house faculty already there? How was your experience in terms of learnings and teachings from there?
We had in-house faculties. We had around four teachers, and two of them even had, like, a doctorate degree in several fields, like, a research field in the design field as well. And I must say, especially in UX in our college, they compel you, or they sort of, like, motivate you to write papers. And even right now, I'm in touch with my mentors from college, and they have also been helping me write papers, because they realize that, as a designer, especially as a UX designer, it's these things that, that count towards later, like with the help. So they're still helping me. They have been a good help. And external faculties, we had a few come from the industry, some other faculty also from other colleges, so we were exposed. Even right now, my college is in touch with professors from university abroad, so they are constantly learning from each year, because it's a new field, a new discipline. They're also learning with each batch. So from my batch, it was different. For now, there have faculties coming in from abroad. And this I didn't have this in my discipline, but for in my college, for product and transportation design and graphic, people had a twinning program and a student exchange program. So for student exchange, you would go one semester in a university abroad. Twinning program is, you would do 2 years in our college, but you would finish the other 2 years in a different college. So our college does give out opportunities for this. In my field, since it's new, it did happen, but the other fields that did have it.
That's wonderful, Shreya. So what was the fee structure like? And if you could talk about the economics behind this, how much it costed and all.
Okay, so this is for 2015 when I started off. So the fee structure is around 4 lakhs per year. And so this includes your academic fees as well as your hostel, your laundry, your mess, and all of this. And so there's also a 10% increment, like, in the fee structure every year. So I, like, towards, I think at the end of 4 years, it goes around 16 around. Like, you can not pay for the mess, and you can choose to eat from outside just to adjust with the economics. But there is one thing that I must say, like, design education, it's really an investment, because it always, the return of investment is always better. Like, you can always pay it off. And it's always how you paid off with the placement opportunities also that you get in. And as a designer also, especially if you come out from any college, if you say that, let's say NID, NIFT, Symbiosis, or MIT, even if you say that you're a designer, like a UX designer from this college, you paying, like you paid for that title also. So for all those who are thinking about, whether they want to make an investment in a design education, I think it's worth it. But another thing is, it's only if you're passionate towards it. So that was the one point that I want to tell.
So that's really very well explained, because 16 lakhs of you is a bit of huge for some people, but it also, the point that you mentioned is totally correct. The amount of support you get, or the alumni connections that you make post that, is also worthwhile all this investment. So in terms
Yeah.
of connections, and how was it like the post college experience? And you also mentioned placement thing. Was college providing you with the placements, or was it on your own? How was that process regarding to MIT for this UX design course?
We have one person assigned for placements. There's a whole team for it, but he is like the head of it. And we had a whole placement drive. So it's like a week of where every company would come and visit our college. They would give a little introduction about what they're offering and what kind of work they do. So before going for the interview, you can always sit for the company introduction and see what kind of work they do. You can talk to them, and then you have the placement interview thing. And like any other, like just like the exam, like you have an exam before the placement. It's not an exam, actually, it's a test assignment sort of, where you're given a real life scenario. I remember for mine, one of them was we had to redesign IRCTC website, the standard redesigning challenge. So yeah, and it's all about how you explain the solution. Even if you don't have screens, but you've thought of the process of how you want to show your solution, that also makes a difference. So we have the test, they go through our test, and then you have an interview where the question as to what was your design process or what was your thought process. This is actually checking with how, like, what your mentality, what how you have resolved that particular design problem. So in that interview, you discuss on this, and of course, you have your portfolio of work that you've been doing for in college. You discuss those things with the people from the companies, and they also give in their feedback, which is also really great, because some may like it, some may not like it, and they're like, and it's always criticism. Like, you always want that feedback, so it's always good to get that exposure from other people also. So with the placement, we have a placement drive for a week, and then it slowly spreads out for the next few months. So our college does have some companies in their list, but you can also apply on your own. But one thing that the placement people that says it, going from the college, you have a reputation that you've gone from the college, like through the placement drive. And for the negotiation of the prices, the salary and everything, the college also plays a big factor. When you're on your own, when you're trying to look for jobs, the negotiation is only with you. But when it's through the placement from the college, your college also helps in, pushes in a little bit. So I think that also helps. And right now for UX, most of the companies that are coming in our college are for UX jobs as well.
Thanks, Shreya. So we'll conclude this by, how was your experience before joining the design school, and after joining, like graduating from this design school? So how was it like? What transformation you got within you, and what do you suggest to the people who are trying to get into these schools now?
I must say you're exposed to a lot of people. All, like, one thing is design field. It's actually a little bit competitive even in college. And another thing is you like, the work that you're doing, you're always getting feedback on what, and that's important, as to like to get those feedback also. So it's very important, I mentioned this before also, to make the connections, to make it, to to just interact with fellow designers. It's equally important. And before that, I was, in my own circle of school friends, but with design college, of course there's drama, all of that happening, and you're just exposed to different drama in every year, but that just makes you grow. As a designer also, you're constantly getting criticism and feedback also, that it grows. And like I said, it's a little competitive, but also challenging you at every step. Even with the juries, our juries can get a little difficult also, but it's also competing you for the real world. So Um, like I said before, education is an investment. It will pay off, and only if you're fully passionate for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shreya, for all these great insights. Uh, Once again, guys, if you want to reach down to Shreya, I'll attach her Instagram. You can DM her and ask all your queries related to UX or education or anything.
On stage for having me. This has been a great pleasure. And of course, I will be there for anybody, like, as a help, some sort of help, even with any kind of project, I can help you guys out. So don't worry in contacting me. Like, share,
Yeah.
subscribe.
Subscribe.